to illuminate the land. Now, I will request our speakers to please accept a token of appreciation. Over to you. On behalf of IlluminatiX, the media and PR cell of XIM, I, Gunit, along with my team members, Ritik, Doyle, and Karan, welcome you all with immense joy and heartfelt enthusiasm to Communiqué 2024, our annual media campaign, where ideas intertwine like vibrant threads and voices echo with boundless passion. Together, let us embark on an enthralling world of stories where narratives are shaped and emotions are touched. Think about Cadbury. They know their audience so well that their social media campaigns never cease to amaze. Cadbury's Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye campaign is one of the brand's most iconic campaigns, especially during the festive seasons of Diwali. The campaign beautifully plays on the cultural practice of offering sweets to mark special occasions, positioning Cadbury as the perfect way to add sweetness to life's celebrations. Over the years, Cadbury has used this slogan to connect with a wide audience, including families, friends, and even the armed forces, emphasizing moments of joy and togetherness. And on the other hand, Jaguar. Jaguar recently launched its Coffee Nothing campaign, featuring a bold rebranding effort that included a revamped logo, a modernized leopard emblem, and vibrant colors, aimed at signaling a fresh direction as an ultra-luxury EV. The campaign sparked controversy due to its avant-garde marketing variant, which lacked any class and focused on abstract visuals and themes. Critics, including some traditionalists, found the approach over-designed and disconnected from Jaguar's heritage, while others labeled it too woke. It shows us that even the biggest brands can miss the mark in the complex world of communication. So as we explore the stories of Cadbury and Jaguar today, we are not just looking at big companies, we are learning lessons about how to convey our ideas when everyone is paying attention. Communiqué 2024 is here to unfold these lessons, showing us the ropes of brand-based leading narratives to content. As we gather here, let us reflect on the power of words, the nuances of non-verbal cues, and the impact of content and storytelling on our communication landscape. Communication is not merely about words, it's about creating connections, fostering understanding, and navigating these complexities of our interconnected world. In the next few hours, we have the privilege of learning from some of the brightest minds in our country. We are thrilled to have with us as our esteemed speakers who will be sharing insights, experiences, and wisdom. Before moving forward to an insightful session and afternoon, we would like to launch Communiqué 2024 with a video. Get ready to be inspired.
Similarly, advertisements are very important. They help us summon like XIM understands this. Hence this conclave Communiqué, Washington, Lawrence, watch and learn.
There's a playlist for this. And there's a playlist for that. When life changes tracks, there's a playlist for that. Discover 3 billion playlists only on Spotify now.
Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things, wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Dip the box with the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was 19 before the thunder.
Don't believe that Simba.
With this, we commence Communicate 2024.
Hello everyone. So our first speaker for the day is Miss Amrita Purkayastha. She's a distinguished and accomplished brand marketing leader with over a decade of experience spanning the FMCG, entertainment and technology industries. Currently, she serves as Senior Global Brand Manager at Unilever, and she is renowned for seamlessly blending data-driven insights with creative storytelling to create compelling and impactful brand narratives. An alumna of prestigious XIM Bhubaneswar's MBA DM March of 2012, Amrita has honed her expertise across several high-profile roles. Notably, she served as Associate Director at Zee Entertainment and Senior Brand Manager at Godrej Consumer Products, where she played a pivotal role in shaping the marketing strategies for iconic brands such as Goodnight and Be Blunt. Her leadership and innovative approach continue to drive exceptional growth and transformation in the brands she manages. Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Ms. Amrita. don't have that in our meeting rooms. So very happy to be here. I know that many of you, like me, would not take this as seriously as you would when you look back at it, but these are possibly the best years of your life. So please make sure that you enjoy it. For most of you, it might not be the last student experience. For many of you, it might be. For me, it was the last on-campus experience, and it has such fond memories. I have so much nostalgia. I'm so grateful to the Illuminati team and everybody who has invited me here. I'm very happy to speak to you, and I hope that you find something useful today in whatever I bring to you. A little bit about me, and that's the story of me. I think today we are talking about storytelling, and it's such a rich topic to talk about. All of us have stories, right? And I love this quote that says that the universe is not made of atoms, it's made of stories. Because who cares about atoms, right? We all care about the stories that we tell ourselves as well as the stories that we hear. So this is the story of me since I left the Chaviyar blog in 2012. I started at Godrej. I joined them as a summer intern, converted the PPO, and joined them as a management trainee. I first did sales all across the country. I was in Chennai, rural Maharashtra, Delhi, and so on and so forth. So any of you joining FMCG, please make sure you have the sales experience. It's life-changing. I was then lucky enough to work on two spectacular brands at Godrej. First was Leland, which was a premium haircare brand. I was part of the founding team, which sort of got the brand to the Godrej ecosystem. And then I did Goodnight. You all know Goodnight? Yes. So I'll share some of the work that I have done there, and I'll try and talk you through what the brand was about, what kind of stories we developed, and so on and so forth. That's a very interesting and a brand very close to my heart. So I'll tell a couple of stories about that. Then I moved to ZTV. And before that, I spent about 6 years at Godrej. I was really just living in the Godrej colony, driving 3 minutes to the office. And I don't know if any of you remember Ye Jawani Hai Diwali. Are you guys too young to remember that movie? Okay, so there's this saying there, right, where Naina tells Bunny कि तुम 1 minute और रुक गए तो मुझे तुमसे प्यार हो जाएगा. It was literally like that for me in Godrej, where I thought that it's been 6 years. If I stay any longer, I'll probably retire from there, because it was an amazing company to work at. And I thought that I can't be retiring from one company, right? So I moved here, I moved to ZTV, and it was a spectacular new world of entertainment. And you might have seen some of this, maybe you're too young to see some of this. This was Saregama Dance India Dance. Kumkum Bhagya, anyone? Yes, I'm very surprised. Okay. So some of those were things I worked on. And then finally, Unilever happened in 2022, so I've been working with Lakme, and then last year I moved to Brazil. So this has been my story professionally since last 12 years. And this has been my personal story. I got married, 5 on 10 experience, not very highly recommend. Over to you guys to take a call there. I travel across the world, 35 plus countries. I intend to do 40 under 40 when I get there. And I wrote a book. I became a published author in 2021. I wrote a book on 100 women. It's a work that I work. It's a passion project. I worked on this for 5 years, and I finally published a book. And last year I had Arya, so I have an 18-month-old who I've left behind in Bombay to come and speak to you guys on a Sunday morning. So you know how much I want to come here and speak to you guys. So this has been my journey personally. And I talk about my book, and I've got some copies for you guys, whoever wants to read it. But I talk about that because storytelling is very dependent on the medium. So it's very different when you write a book and tell stories there, and when you tell brand stories from a marketing lens. It's very different. Canvas is very different as a platform. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference between platforms and how fundamentally that affects the stories you tell. So that's been me. Coming to the topic today. And this, I think, all of us would agree to, right? This is what we are all wired as human beings. This is what our brains are wired to do. We forget facts
but we remember the stories. This is what evolution has made us to be. If you all have read *Sapiens* or any other book which sort of puts a roadmap into why we are the way we are as human beings, you would know that we are just wired to be storytellers, gossipers. We are just wired to be people who love stories, right? There are stories we tell ourselves. There are stories that hold us together as communities, and there are stories that we find meaning in and live our lives by, right? So it's very, very important that we remember that stories are everywhere, and it's very, very important part of our human experience. And marketing, we the marketeers who are here are interested in marketing. Okay, half the batch, not bad. I hope that count of hands increases by the end of this, but it is really, we are often, marketeers are almost often considered as, corporate scamsters because we are upselling stories, right? We are peddling products, we are trying to sell a brand, maybe even oversell it at many parts. But really, I feel, and having worked in this function for many years, and somebody who's a very passionate marketer who really sees that brands and marketing have an incredible impact on culture and people, I feel that marketing has a huge responsibility. Marketeers like us and many of us interested in this function should look at the larger picture of what we are able to do for our consumers, for our people, and the way that we can impact and almost contribute to human journey, right? Because there are so many things that people need for very specific reasons in their lives, and we as marketers are able to put that into a story and offer them that solution. So marketing, and this is a great quote that I love, marketing is not about the stuff you sell, it is about the stories you tell. Because most brands that have at all made any difference in anybody's lives are great stories told over many years consistently and with a very single-minded focus. Okay, so what is the making of a good story? And I think there are many aspects to it. If you input it into ChatGPT, you will get like 9 pointers of what is a good making of a story. These are the 5 that I feel from marketing lens is very, very important. First is the characters, the plot, the conflict, the style, and the resolution. And I'll give you some examples that I have personally worked on or very closely worked on, so I can give you a first-hand thinking background into what went into creating those brand campaigns. And we try and see how each of those adverts sort of put together these 5 and brought that alive to a story. So let's go to the first one. Okay, this is a brand of Good Night, and it's such a beautifully crafted brand. It's such a powerful brand. It's a mosquito repellent brand, right? Nobody cares about mosquitoes. Do you guys care about mosquitoes? Do you even talk about mosquitoes in your daily lives? Yes, there's a huge problem, but great if you talk about it, and I think Good Night is selling very well for them. But it's not an emotional connection, right? Unless of course you're really bothered by it, then there is an emotional connection. But it's really such a nuisance. You want to really talk about a brand that sells mosquitoes, and that's why this brand was able to sort of recraft their whole idea, and what they call themselves is that they protect happy family moments. They don't just sell mosquito repellents, they protect happy family moments. And that's the brand one-line purpose, if you might. And that's what everything that they do is based on, that they protect happy family moments. So let's play this, and when you see this, try and think, what's the character like? What did the brand think about when they cast this character? What did the brand think about when they thought of this plotline? What did they think of as a conflict? And what is it that the brand eventually gives the solution as?
Obvio solar. आज फिर से गुड नाइट नहीं बोल पाया।
बोल तो दिया। वो पापा से परफेक्ट होते हैं जो गुड नाइट नहीं कह पाते। गुड नाइट लिक्विड।
Yeah. So you will notice that there is a character that leaves office early, walks through traffic, reaches his home. He's almost jittery. He's almost too careful to not wake up the kid, but he's also a little guilty of not having spent enough time with the baby. How relatable would this be for a 35, 40-year-old? A lot, right? Not you 20 in 20s, you do not have a baby to sort of think about it, but imagine the buyer of the home who can almost see this man in themselves, right? That was the character. We spent a lot of time in casting this person because this person had to represent the guilt. This person had to represent the humanity that came with, this papa who is getting late to sleep. So we spent a lot of time in finalizing the actor who played this, spent a lot of time actually casting the baby as well. You had that baby who looks utterly adorable, right? Who is just sleeping, he's just not even acting, he's just simply being there. But it's such a heart nudging, heart tucking kind of moment. And also the role of the brand. The resolution, the conflict that the story had was resolved by the product. The conflict that he could not do enough for the child was sort of resolved by this product, this very humble mosquito repellent, which otherwise would have no meaning in somebody's life, but suddenly found so much meaning in this family's setting. So that's the power of a good story. In Goodnight, it's a brand built over 50 years. Maybe we would have crafted 5 or 7 campaigns which really were this powerful. This is on a TV medium, right? This is 30 seconds. We're in the Facebook Insta world, and we work with Google and Facebook very closely, and they keep telling us the brand has to come in the 5 seconds. Who has the attention span to wait through 30 seconds to eventually see that this problem is a solution to Good Night? You need to have a narrative where Good Night or whatever you're trying to sell is within the first 5 seconds. Otherwise, you might not, win this case. And whenever you guys, whoever is interested in marketing, actually end up joining the function of marketing, you will see that this whole world of changing platform, this new age world of social media, has really put a lot of challenge to the narrative and the storytelling of brands, because now you're catering to an attention deficit audience who barely has time. Because maybe by till late 2010s or 2008s, you still have people watching TV, and in television, your advertising window is within the content you're watching. So even if you are slightly distracted, you might be hearing the advert playing in the TV, right? It's between two, it's in a commercial break. But when you're scrolling through Facebook or Insta, you can easily skip, and 2, you have a lot more other things to see, and there is no blocked time for you to see the advert. So really, for us marketers, the job has become so much more difficult to hold on to attention and make sure that even if you're busy and you're scrolling out of an advert that I have made, I have paid millions of dollars to create, and you have no attention span to sort of see it for 5 seconds, I need to make sure those 5 seconds count and the first 5 seconds count. So the next ad that you will see was very brilliantly done. It's still a very nice story. You don't have to let go of the story, let go of the character, let go of anything that your brand stands for just because the audience has no attention span. You can still create a story which will keep the audience hooked. And that's what the next ad is. I'll just play it for you.
मैं दे दूं तेरे
बिना धुआं फैलाए ताकि ये लोगों न संभाल के गुड नाइट लिक्विड।
Did you see the character? The flawed, and maybe in the first second you thought how lazy he is. He can't even sort of go up and push the button to click the good night on. But in the very third or fifth second you realize that he's a caring father who's just stuck. His fingers are stuck like that. Because the baby is moving on. So there was a lovable character. There was a plot, right? It kept you thinking that why can't we just move an inch and just click on the machine? There was conflict. There was conflict in the way that the mother and the father, almost the mother looks at him a little in a judgmental way and then realizes that this is just a caring father who's doing his best. And there's a resolution. And resolution was right there from the beginning, but it actually starts when she switches the plug on and the good night machine starts. So you would see that even if this was designed to be possibly digital first, platform first, it was designed to be for an audience which might not, see through your 30 seconds and wait till the 15 seconds for your product to come. It still had a story. It still had something for you to remember, and it still had the brand's very essence of protecting happy family members. So this was on Good Night. Let me show you another brand. This was a variant of Good Night, and this was something that I personally worked on. And this was a new category that we were launching. This was the personal repellent category in Good Night. Any of you used it, the fabric roll-on? On the clothes that we use. So this was almost like a leap out of the Good Night world. Good Night was always known for its liquid vaporizers, etc. And then we were launching this, and we were especially launching it for kids. And there are two things when you sell to a kid or you make a product mostly for kids. One, it needs to be memorable and simple, because if there is any 8-year-old watching this ad for a minute, and if there is something interesting and fun that they take on from there, you're sold. Because children, and none of you have children, but I have one, children are the biggest influencers in a home setting. If they need something, the parents have to get it. So even if the little guy has no money, but he'll make sure that the parents shell out that money to get him the product that he wants. So for us, it is very important that the kids latch on to what we are trying to sell, and also the role of the mom, right? You're very, very careful that both the decision maker and the actual user, which is the kid, both have something to take from the story. The other thing that we wanted to do was a very consistent habit-forming narrative. And you will see this, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, but when you see it, try and make this connect that how we were trying to build a habit. This was a product which had to be used every day, because this was something that was an outdoor product on clothes. And this had to be a habit-forming thing. So you please focus on the music, the jingle, the characters, and the plot line, and we'll talk about that.
पूरी बात तो सुन ले, इसको लगाएगी ना मच्छर।
गुड नाइट फैब्रिक रोल।
नो मच्छर बाइटिंग करके बाहर जाऊं। जा।
100% natural good night fabric roll.
I personally cast that little boy, and he was adorable. And he was such a good actor, and you see how much he brought to the story, right? You realize that the last 5 seconds of Jao, the story was done, the product was sold, the jingle was done, and it was so important to still have that Jao and that looking back at the mother and finally sort of closing the loop on that adorable little child. Did you notice the jingle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 13, 4. And this was such a holding thought in everything that we did with this brand and this particular variant. And it was very important that for an 8 or 9-year-old, it was hummable, it was memorable. Almost everything that we did, and this is not the only thing that we did for that campaign, right? We did ground activations, we did a lot of other things. And we made sure that this 8 to 3 was almost fun for a 8-10-year-old to do. It was almost something that they would hum around, they would play with that 1, 2, 3, 4, and stuff like this. So yeah, so that was another very successful campaign from Bhubaneswar.
नहीं, बाहर बहुत बच्चे हैं।
ग्राउंड पे तो और होंगे। बेटा मत जा, देखो बोलेगी होगे तो।
जाओ और ऐसा सिक्सर मारना कि बॉल गुम हो जाए। गुड नाइट फैब्रिक रोल ऑन। बाहर के बच्चों को रोको, अपने चैंपियन को नहीं। चैंपियन बनना है, बाहर तो जाना पड़ेगा। गुड नाइट फैब्रिक रोल ऑन।
Okay. So by now, are you guys getting a hang of the character, the story, the conflict? There was pretty much a lot of conflict in that storytelling, right? And there was a resolution as well. Are you getting a flavor of how much goes behind the scene for casting an actor, to figuring the music, to getting the exact moment at which the product is introduced, and so on and so forth? So great, so you guys have almost covered 10 years of marketing. 15 minutes. Okay, this is my second latest brand because I worked on Lakme when I joined Unilever. And beauty is a very different world, right? I'm looking at the girls here who all use some form of Lakme, Maybelline, or Sugar product. The very few hands, I need more makeup users here. Okay, great. So makeup, as you know, is one very frivolous because it doesn't take a lot for you to use a lipstick today and then use the other one the next time. And also, it is the whole category, and not just lipsticks, the whole category is very visual. You don't want an emotional storytelling, a lot of yarn on it. You want to know what the product is, you want to remember, you want to think it's very cool for me to try this new product. It's a different world, right? And Lakme, the whole idea of Lakme, like I told you about Good Night. Good Night is about protecting family moments. Lakme is all about empowering fashionistas or being unapologetically you. So it's a very different space. And I would urge you to not judge this with the same storytelling standard. It's a slightly different kind of campaign. You would still see the conflict, the character, the resolution, and the plot to a certain extent. But think of it as a 19-year-old who doesn't want to hear an emotional saga, but is very, very keen on trying the latest beauty trend, right? So I'll play this for you, and I would want the women in the group and the girls in the group to pay attention and tell me if they are clear on how the character is, what the story is, and what the resolution is.
Just 4 minutes in the sun and skin damage begins. No!
3, 4,
Lakme Sun Expert Lotion blocks 97% UV rays and helps reduce skin pigmentation. Sun in the sun. Lakme Sun Expert Ultra Matte Lotion.
I got this here because it's not a very typical story, and I also break this myth with you all that marketing is not just about telling stories, it's also about ensuring that the message lands. It's a different kind of story, right? It is one of the most successful Lakme sunscreen campaigns actually in the recent past. And it worked because of 2-3 reasons. There was a huge conflict that was shown very, very visibly, right? Do you all agree? The 4 minutes, it was shown so powerfully. And the third, which is the tick, tick, boom. Did you guys see that Insta reel, the music that goes? So we want to make sure that it is a music which is memorable, which almost makes the storytelling far more interesting than what it otherwise would have been. It would have been a very linear product sell, but with that music, with that little bit of drama, with that little bit of the 4 minutes, this was able to create the kind of urgency that we need when women are trying sunscreen. So this as well is a very successful storytelling. It's a very, very brand out story. There's not much to know about this girl walking through the beautiful lanes of Bangkok, but you know that she is harrowed, she needs a sunscreen, she's walking in the sun, and there's memorable, beautiful music, right? So this is also a very powerful storytelling campaign. And I think I have two more. I think I have a final one. And this one I'm the most proud of because this was from Z. And I don't know how many of you still watch TV, but television is still the single largest entertainment platform for India, right? And ZTV, this was the brand refresh campaign that we're working on. And we wanted for our brand to stand for something. So while Star Plus was about change and it was all about talking about progress and a lot about women in the society. Any of you watch Anupama? Yeah, are you guys embarrassed or you just don't watch it? Okay. So Star Plus was a very different brand. It is still a very different brand, but ZTV was trying to be the brand for the Indian middle class. And I want you to sort of culminate everything that I talked to you about and watch this next piece very, very carefully. Because you see a lot of smaller stories here, a lot of little nuggets, but you would see what the brand is trying to stand for, what the brand is trying to say about themselves. This was a campaign where ZTV wanted to sort of make a statement about what are the kind of stories that come on the ZTV channel. What are the kind of relationships and conflicts and stories that they have on the platform. So see it and try and see for each of them what is that moment in the story and what do you pick up from the characters. There was no dialogue needed there, right? There was no big plot, conflict, or any of that. You could just see those micro moments in the character's life, and you knew what they're talking about, what do they stand for. So I'm just on the last couple of slides, but I want you to remember that what really sticks and are memorable, and this is something that is true for brands, product brands, people brands, any brand that we know of, anybody we remember, anything we remember. The the most important two aspects of making sure people remember your brand and remember your product is authenticity and consistency. You have to be authentic, you have to be consistent. Some of the biggest brands who have stood the test of time over the last many decades, like Apple, Coca-Cola, they are that big because they're consistent and they're authentic, right? Coca-Cola not so much recently, but for many years they have spent a lot of dollars across many, many decades to find that authentic connection with their consumers and be that consistently. Be it their product, be it their on-ground presence, anything, after service, anything that you talk about, you have to be consistent and authentic. And that's it. Thank you very much. I hope you found something interesting and I like to hear hands round of people interested in marketing. Thank you and all the best. Please enjoy your time on the campus. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think for all of us, this was perhaps one of the most brilliantly told stories of marketing and insights on marketing that we could have imagined. Moving on, we'd like to move forward introducing our next speaker. Our next speaker of the day is Ms. Kriti Singh. Ms. Kriti stands as a beacon of creativity and leadership in the marketing realm, where she effortlessly transforms visionary ideas into impactful realities. As the CEO and founder of XIM, a premier strategy, branding, and marketing agency, she has carved a niche for herself, delivering impeccable solutions in brand curation, content curation, and go-to-marketing strategies. Under her stewardship, XIM thrives as a hub of innovation, backed by a team of passionate marketing experts dedicated to elevating businesses across diverse industries. An illustrious alumna of XIM Bhubaneswar's MBA batch of 2018, Ms. Kriti's academic journey is as inspiring as a professional one. Graduating as the top ranked student in her batch, she showcased her unwavering commitment to excellence early on. Her horizons further expanded through her time at AMS Belgium, where she gained global perspectives, enriching her vision with a unique blend of international acumen and cultural depth. Kriti's story is not merely one of accomplishments, but of a relentless pursuit of excellence. Her journey is a testament to the power of innovation, resilience, and the transformative impact of visionary leadership. Please join me in welcoming our next guest, Ms. Kriti Singh.
sat in one of those chairs, so I know that we all love a good talk on Sunday, right? What was that? So, guys, a little heads up. See, this is going to be a little intense, right? And the reason why I made it intense, not intense, but slightly intense, because in marketing, when we're doing it in a campus, we are talking about why, we are talking about the end result, but nobody talks about how. So when you get into the job, the question is how, and you have to do it on your own self, right? So we'll just try to see how we can kind of understand the how of it. So just follow what you can. If you can't, it's fine. You have your peers ahead of you where you can just figure it out for yourself, right? So just take a moment, right? Again, if you will just Google, right? Just find B2C companies across the globe. The number is in lakhs, right? If you look at B2B companies, the number is still in lakhs, pan globe. There are so many businesses across the globe, right? So the question is, out of these businesses, how many actually revolve? Right? In B2B, maybe on the top of your head because of marketing students, right? So maybe 20, maybe 30. In B2C, maybe 100, but not more than that, right? So why is that? So I'll not bore you with, yes, stories matter, we remember them more, right? But why do we actually do it, right? Is it a new concept, like, all of a sudden it started that we have to do brand storytelling? No, it's not a new concept. So guys, how we have evolved in terms of brand storytelling is, right? So earlier the medium was like probably radio and print, right? So the focus was more on jingles, right? Something you can hear, something you can just relate to, right? Hira hai sada ke liye, a diamond is forever. Those kind of ad campaigns were the way to go in the 1950s, 70s, right? And then came the era of televisions, right? So you will see this whole emotional and lifestyle storytelling. I don't know how many of you are 90s kids. The chances are since you would love to know any 90s kids here. Oh, great. So you have seen those ads where Shah Rukh Khan is coming, Kajol is dancing, Rani Mukherjee is coming, and at the end of the ad you see it's the ad for Pepsi. Or it's an ad where Amitabh Bachchan is talking, he's there, and then you look it up, it's an ad for a pen, right? So those are the times where aspirational style of marketing came into picture, right? So that was the trend then. Now you might be thinking why we are discussing this. Because the whole storytelling method, it kind of evolves with time. It kind of changes with time. So maybe 4 years down the line, we would be talking about something else altogether, right? There may be a different trend altogether in the market. Now we are talking about brand storytelling, something else will come in picture and have to adapt according to that. Right? So with social media, number of platforms, of course what ma'am already covered, right? So different formats of storytelling, being more dynamic, right? So all that came into picture. Now again, see, you all already have enough content for this on the corner, right? So when you do brand storytelling, your brand value will increase, this will increase, that will increase, right? But when you come to the job market, right? And suppose if you're talking to a 40-year-old company founder and you say that, hey, we have to do brand awareness, right? You'll be like, why do we waste time on that? We are already doing so good, right? So in real world scenario, no matter how big or old the company is or how young the company is, right? The end goal is always sales number. So marketing's end goal is not brand awareness, sales, revenue, lead generation, that's it. So when you kind of keep that in your mind, the back of your head, when you are creating a story, the end goal is not just creating brand awareness, but that has to translate into revenue, sales for your company. It will be a new perspective. So how do we do that, right? So you already know this. There are too many facts to support it. Storytelling is important, right? Now, I'll just give you a brief insight into. So now we see so many stories on different channels and different platforms, right? Not every brand is similar to the other. There are hero brands, there are enabler brands, there are caregiver brands, right? There are different ways a brand can be positioned. What is working for the other person might not work for you, right? So it is very important to be aware that, we see all these amazing campaigns and we're like, oh, so this person, might have just come across it while thinking about it. No, it's years of hard work, months of hard work, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of fighting and, fighting with different people, their perspectives, right? So a lot of work goes into that. So let's start with a quote from Melanie Perkins, right? I know guys that on Instagram you must have all read about how she kind of tried to get funding for a startup for 100 times. She was not able to get funding for 100 times and then she got it. She cracked it after that. So what changed in her way of telling her pitch? So earlier when she kind of pitched Canvas, she was already talking about, hey, it's a great product for designers, right? And then she kind of started her narrative, which is simpler, easier, and faster, less expensive. And then she changed her narrative, right? It became easier for people to understand what's the point of this product, right? Now, this is a very typical angle of telling the story, which is called the founder vision storytelling, right? So I will not go and go through all the information and all the types, but a founder vision story might not work for everyone, right? So, for example, if a product is directly related to your customer and directly related to your founder, that's the case where you kind of pick up a founder story, founder vision story, right? Where the alignment is there. But I'll give an example, like I talk about success stories, I'm talking about the failure story of brand angling, right? So we had this client, they were making this product, a medical device, right, for detecting sugar. It's a nano device, you can sit at home and detect your sugar, and they have partnership with MHRD, like Health and Resources Government of India, right? They have worked with Tata, some of the bigger players in the market, right? And when we decided to kind of start brand awareness for them, we started with all the founders, right? Understood the product, right? Everything. So we found one of the founders had diabetes. And that's when he decided that he wants to make a product which is easy to use. It's a nano device, right? So we had a eureka moment. Wow, the founder had diabetes. He's going to be the face of this brand. And we did a very intense campaign around it. It did not work. Can anyone tell me why it did not work? You can take a wild guess. It does not have to be right. I think nobody has a mind, so I'll just continue with this. So why it did not work is, at the end of all of that, maybe 2 months down the line, what we figured out is, the consumers for this are not B2C. The consumers for this are your clinics, hospitals, decision makers in those hospitals, doctors, right? And they don't care whether your founder had diabetes or whether your founder did not have diabetes. He did not go to school, how he went to school, how he completed his graduation. So founder vision story, it works in the case of when you're directly selling to your consumer, right? When it is B2B, you have to create a narrative where you bring the credibility to the picture, right? When you bring, authenticity, credibility, you can trust on us, the product is good, that is really important, right? So now all of you, I'm sure, know Zomato, right? So Zomato is basically a platform where you order stuff, you order food, you get it. But when you think of Zomato, you might think of it as a person sometimes, right? Because it has created a persona for itself, which is based on humor, storytelling, connecting on a personal level with you. And we are not talking about the founder, like how the founder did this, did that, did this, right? So this is a very different persona-based kind of marketing, right? Then there is, of course, Airbnb, where it is experiential marketing, the focus is not on the product. So I will not go into every single one of them. What I'm trying to tell you is, what works for one person might not work for you. So you have to understand what the company is about before you actually get into the whole brand storytelling thing. It is not like, okay, so founder has a very tough story, tough life, so let's make it the picture, the brand. It does not work like that. Okay? So this is pretty much the funnel for storytelling. How we achieve it, we'll just discuss it over a couple of other slides. Now you have to understand one thing. A lot of times when we talk about marketing, it's like a very visual kind of thing, right? We think that marketing is about these amazing creatives and copywriting, this, that, no. It is a very data-driven, intense subject. You have to be very open to listen to your numbers. If you are not open to numbers, you might actually become very complacent, and that is what you want to avoid. Be very open to what your customers are telling you, whatever kind of numbers and insights you can drop out anywhere. Now, this is how basically you create your brand story. You basically what it means is you get into a company, you get into a brand, you talk to all the founders, decision makers, what they think of the brand, you talk to the employees, what they understand of the product, you talk to the product teams, you talk to the customer support team. So when you talk to the sales and customer support team, they will give you another set of insights. So a lot of times what happens is the product team will tell you that we have made this feature, the sales team is telling something else. So there is a reason why they are doing that, right? So you need to understand what internally your companies perceive as. The second step is of course understanding the target audience, right? Understanding your brand strengths, right? So is your brand capable of offering an experience or insight or connection that others are not able to deliver on, right? So you have to put it all on the board, think about it, brainstorm, fight with your colleagues and peers, and then come up with multiple options, right? So it is never just straightforward that this story will work, that story will work. And a lot of times, the best part of marketing today is, it's not like you made this campaign, it did not work, so now you're dead. No. You can always go back to the board, people have a very short attention span, you can always rebrand yourself with a new campaign. You always have to keep on testing and reiterating, especially for brands to figure out what's working. Yeah? So now coming to the frameworks again, I'll not go through every single one of them. But when you are creating the stories, the frameworks are very important, right? So it is going to be a hero framework where you are going to be the enabler. Your customer is actually going to be the hero of the story, and you will say how you're helping them achieve their dreams. Or is it going to be aspirational? You will be like, hey, you have to get here this way, we are going to be a part of it. Or is it just going to be the journey of it, right? So all this is something you have to understand the broader context of things, right? So what makes sense to you as a company in the long term as well as in the short term, right? So you have to pick your framework, work on all the essentials of it, the copywriting by default follows. Everything else like casting and all that, all just follows that, right? So you have to just decide how you want to put your story together. Do you want to be an underdog story where you are like there is this obstacle, you have this relatability angle, and kind of exploiting that. So it is never this straightforward how we always assume while we are actually studying marketing in colleges. It's pretty something phenomenal. So we were just talking about Jaguar, right? So it was not like they just came up and decided to go this random campaign. The essence of the campaign is nobody had been talking about them for a year, for many years now, right? So the crux of that campaign is let people talk about us. A lot of people criticize the campaign, but this is also part of marketing where you want people to talk about you. And you cannot go viral with a very, very planned, everything will work out from category type of marketing strategies a lot of times, especially now, with social media marketing. So they kind of try different models and sometimes connectivity specifics. Yeah. Now, what is adaptive storytelling? So, adaptive storytelling is for the first thing, right? So now, what? For example, there is an enterprise client, right? There is a mid-sized company and there is a startup. They are in different levels of growth. So they all have to pitch on different categories with different essential points before they actually create a well-planned category trend for themselves, right? So you have to think where are we as a company, right? What is the feeling, what is the emotion we want to create in our audience, right? And most importantly, you have to keep on adapting your story, not just according to the platform, but also according to different age groups if you're working with multiple age groups, right? Now, again, so when we're talking about different brand stages, in the initial stage, you are about brand awareness. You don't care about the campaign, but you do not care about what is going to be the end result. You want people to talk about you. When you are an enterprise client, you are looking for something more in the range of people to count on us, the loyalty, for your brand recall value and all of that, right? So accordingly, you kind of structure your narrative and kind of keep yourself open to all the possibilities around you, right? So earlier, what we had this for the bigger brands, especially, right? You would make this campaign and you will stay in the news for 1 year. Now it is not like that, right? So you have to keep on working on your narrative every month, every bi-weekly, even for some of the brands, right? So you have to stay consistent, but also be there for your customers. Let them know that you're still there. Yeah. Now, talking about the canvas of storytelling, we already know about offline marketing. Yes, after COVID, digital marketing has become really important, but at the same time, the whole canvas of offline marketing now has come back again. So experiences, the touch points, all that becomes really important when we're talking about, creating a story for yourself. So story is not always ad campaigns, it's also visual experiences in your offline touch points as well. Now, what is the biggest challenge as marketers? You go on Instagram, everybody has a story. Everything has a story. And it has come to a point like everything has been already spoken about, right? Everyone knows everything, right? So, how do you stand out? So, this makes the job very tough as a marketer, that you have to kind of stand out in this oversaturated market where everyone is talking about some kind of brand story, but not everything stands out. And what stands out really pays off in the long run. So this saturation is something what we need to overcome. And it is actually a challenge, but at the same time it's also very rewarding for the marketers who are actually able to achieve that. Now coming to talk about AI, I know that everyone is so much about AI, right? So we are not taking a job anytime soon, as long as we have the emotional intelligence and empathy to understand our customer. We are just still going to be a tool, because believe me, when it comes to marketing, your end consumers are always people, B2B, B2C, B2B, any kind of media or strategy we are talking about. And AI is still quite far away from getting that emotional intelligence that is very important for running a campaign. So now talking about the experiential storytelling again. So if you just see the evolution of Nike as a brand over the years, right? So they just came from just doing to kind of trying, customers can actually virtually try on shoes. The whole concept is to stay relevant and kind of adapt the same storytelling, right, over the years, right? And what is their story? The story has been very simple. They want to inspire you. That is one of the inspiration frameworks that we had seen in one of the previous slides, right? And they have stuck with the essence of their brand and they've adapted it over the years. Now, what is the most important thing where you are kind of thinking of a brand story for a company, right? No matter what is a company, B2B, B2C. You have to make sure that you have to consistently evolve yourself. You cannot do one brand story on one angle in a year and be relaxed for the rest of the year. You have to keep on looking at what are the market trends, right? Is feminism trending, or is it the elections are trending? What's happening, right? Middle class people, are they happy? They are sad. They are happier. So what's happening in the market? You can call it pestle, but essentially what it means is be very aware of what are the things that is happening around you that are kind of changing your purchasing decisions, right? Now let's talk about a couple of stories. Now we all talk about how to do brand storytelling, but we will also talk about what difference has created for some of the brands who have actually made it, right? So Bumble, when it was launched, it was all about being a safer space for dating for women, right? So that was the founder's vision. She left Tinder, she did not like it. She was like, I want to create a safer dating environment for women. But they reached to a certain level, they did grew, but the phenomenal growth of 100 million users, they were able to achieve that by a very particular storytelling campaign, find your own kind of love. So that that is the level of phenomenal growth you can achieve in the right story. So what was the context here? The context was, you know what, it's not just about dating, it is about networking, growth professionally, connecting with people, all that. And when it focused on women empowerment in a very subtle and a very relevant way, they suddenly grew their base from, I think 10 million or 30 million to 100 million users by 2020. So that is the kind of impact you can achieve with the right storytelling model, right? Now talking about Zoom. So before COVID, they had like, I don't know, like they had like 10 million users, 30 million users, right? Post-COVID, when they kind of position themselves not just as a B2B, but as a B2C brand, for connecting with people, like not just companies and their employees, but also people across the globe. They grew to like 100 million users, I don't know like, what's the number, but it grew tremendously in terms of the, just a span of 1 year. 1 year, right? And it was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But what they did is, now this story, what they came up with, like connect everywhere, everyone, right? All that could not have worked if it was not COVID, right? So the marketing team must have thought, like, this is the right time for us, let's capitalize on it. And there are so many other players in the market. There's also Google Meet, right? Google did not grow so tremendously in a span of like 1 year, right? Why did Zoom grew, right? Because they really capitalized on what is the market telling them. So storytelling a lot of times also is driven by what is around you, not just within the organization, but outside the organization. And one last example to go with is Airbnb. So when they were initially launched in the market, they were like a cheaper version of hotels. Okay, you can also stay in a house, that is Airbnb, right? But then they launched this campaign of belong everywhere, right? They have like subscribers in lakhs and crores on the YouTube channel. They brought the whole podcasting to travelers telling their experiences, talking about their experiences, right? The whole idea that you can be anywhere, right? You can experience the culture, all that. So they completely transformed their whole branding as well as a part of that deal, right? And how did we achieve that? Again, listening to the customers. We are not growing, our story is not selling, right? There is Make My Trip, there is Clear Trip, there are so many other booking platforms that help them stand out. That they are not one more like cheaper versions of like, just booking accommodation. They position themselves as selling experiences. And that again is something that will have come by a lot of brainstorming, listening to customers and thinking about it, right? So finally, what is the key metric? The key metric is listen to the numbers. Yes, marketing is very visual, very aesthetic driven, but you have to be very aware when you're looking at the Google Analytics, when you're looking at ad campaigns numbers. You have to look at your conversion funnel, right? Because no matter who is hiring you at the end of the MBA, whether it is an enterprise, startup, SME, they are all driven by sales numbers revenue. And marketers have a very shared responsibility towards growth of the company. So we all be inherently aware of that. Yeah. So any questions, or we can also take it up later. I hope it was not too intense and you still have a great bit of your Sunday left to enjoy. So have a nice day.
Thank you, Priti ma'am, for your insightful presentation and weaving reality into our perspective of storytelling. Our next speaker is Ms. Pragya Sahu. It is our honor to welcome an inspiring HR leader to the stage today. Pragya Sahu, currently the HR head for ITC Matches and Agarbatti businesses, brings over 5 years of rich experience in the corporate, manufacturing, and FMCG sectors. An alumni of Accelerate Jamshedpur with a prestigious MBA in Human Resources Management and a BTech from NIT Surat, Pragya has consistently demonstrated excellence. Her accolades include the Dean's Merit List, the C Leader Award, and the named among Job-based HR 30 under 30, reflecting her remarkable impact in the field. Known for her expertise in HR strategy, organizational development, and fostering growth-centric work environments, Pragya has led transformative initiatives
positive change. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Pragya Paramita Sahu to share her invaluable insights with us today. Hi, good morning. Good to be here today on a Sunday morning, and I'm able to hear a voice from you guys. Fantastic. Very, very impressive. One basic question that I am sure maybe running in your head is by somebody from HR, speaking of marketing Conclave, and on a topic which is related to stories and marketing. Any guesses? I am bound to ask that, but I don't know if you guys can. If anybody wants to share, one possible reason. Okay, so in my perspective, that is because HR and marketing tend to deal with people, both of them. Mine are more employees, yes. Marketing is more the consumers, but psychology behind them stays pretty much the same. And based on my experience, I am currently head of HR for Matthews Agarbatti business, which is very similar to a startup. Matthews Agarbatti business, a brief background so that you understand where I'm coming from. We started as a CSR unit 20 years ago. Because it had a lot of women employment, a lot of politics in the company. Now, if anyone of you is keeping up with news of what the chairman is saying there, what was he speaking in the conclave, Agarbatti of low involvement category is something that is also now bringing revenue quite easily. It may start small, but it is bringing revenue. It's creating a branded purpose for IBC. And that is the story that I want to share with you. On days when you start your career, on days when your day will only look like a list of activities you need to take off. I hope that this particular story of Mangaldeep, what we are doing with what we are doing with this challenge, is something that we will remember that stories are not only good to do, but something that brings revenue, may have a serious impact on the company, something that we brought up. So that is what should I call me? Why should I get into it? Why should I take up the framework that Amrita mentioned? And what will it mean for the company? What can I use to convince my stakeholders? So for that, I would just like to share a small story. I will keep it very concise, and so that's some information, and then back to your foundation evidence. Yeah. Okay. So this is the story of how business innovation, sustainability, and inclusivity go together. For ITC, it is something that is a core value. And the question that we faced, Mangaldeep faced about 3 to 4 years ago is when we were discussing inclusivity. Can inclusivity actually drive brand success? Can it drive new products, new stories? So at that point, we thought visually challenged population is one of the India has one of the largest visually challenged population. 41% of the world's visually challenged population is present in India. Can we leverage this population? For Mangaldeep, a brand which focuses on Agarbatti, our consumer insights told us that premium cyclability is the cornerstone of my business. Without fragrance, any other functional attribute does not really last. Whether my target audience is a housewife who is buying for food job, or it is a young student who is wanting a feeling of calmness in his or her room before fragrance. So, it is from this insight of leveraging the visually challenged population that the Conclave Six Sense panel was born. And it is an insight which our CEO, Mr. Gaurav Dayal, articulated very perfectly, that it's an endeavor aligned with our credo, credo of nation first. Through this entire journey, what were the challenges and the barriers we faced? Engaging visually challenged, making it inclusive, does the same workplace, the same style of work, does the same style of recruitment, training work. So the first hurdle was recruitment. How do we identify individuals with the necessary sensory acuity to be able to tell us which is the fragrance that is stronger, that is liked by people? So we developed a 3-point test where my visually challenged panel had to tell us which are the stronger fragrances, which are the different fragrances. This gave us the selection of people who we can work with. Infrastructure was another challenge. Could a traditional workplace setting support these panelists? Can they come to a particular hotel or a particular hall on one day, like all of us here, and do a fragrance testing, tell me which are, give me their feedback? Not really. So we adapted. What we did, we sent the products to their home. We enrolled a caretaker with them. So the fragrance, the other work with, we can have the fragrance and tell us the feedback which the caretaker can note down. One of the most inspiring things that happened, that in my interactions with these panel members, it was that they came up with their own ways of dealing with these challenges. They started using voice notes on WhatsApp as a common medium of communication. They will let my agency know, hi, this is my feedback, this is my rating. They suggested that we use Google Forms because it has a text-to-speech capability, which is something that for us it's not really something we use so much. Reading is so much easier, so much faster. But text-to-speech ability gives them eyes. So these are some suggestions that we started incorporating into our process with them. And then we built a momentum, trained them with fragrance houses like CP aromas, and so National Association for the Blind also helped us in taking this forward. What came out was the panel's ability to distinguish the fragrance nuances. They could identify the subtle differences in strength and weakness. So they became an area of strength. This became a very big area of strength, and I will tell you why in just after a slide. So what was the approach that we took building this particular panel was, once the idea came 2 years ago in September 2021, we started scouting for visually challenged people. Among people across Calcutta and Chennai, we ended up with 30 panelists each, 60 people in each of the cities. There were the 3 essential criteria for them: a strong sense of smell, support from their caretaker, and a separate room where they can actually do the evaluation peacefully. We didn't stop there. By 2022, by June 2022, we had expanded this particular panel to 5 cities. Now expanding to Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Delhi. This panel entirely now replaced a previous consumer panel, and it was 150 plus visually challenged panels strong. We undertook a fragrance upskilling workshop and introduction to our product portfolio, which previously used to have majorly agarbatti of floral vapors. One of the striking moments for me in these workshops was that there even was a distinction of fragrances. We used to teach about fragrance families was superlative. It was something that even my previous expert and Manoli found impressive. Today,
This team has evaluated over 450 fragrances for Conclave, and they have helped us to innovate and co-create products. Now, let's talk about this. What has happened with this? This is a sustainability and inclusivity that the brand did. What did come out of it? From our initial 60 panelists, we have expanded to 150. One of our most successful launches, Mangali 1, which I hope some of you may have seen and maybe used, was born from the panel's insights. They emphasize that long-lasting fragrance was key. The type of fragrance is something that is different across regions of the country, but long-lasting fragrance is something that is true across. Based on this insight, our product team got together. They developed the Mangali 3-in-1 fragrance, agarbattis. Pre-launch, the purpose of the panelists, panelists who felt that the fragrance lasted longer for this variant was 90% versus 80% of the competitor products. And after we launched it, this is something that the market also had a similar feedback on. Consumers love it. Today, Mangali 3-in-1 is a top-selling product, and it's a very true testament to the inclusive insights that has shaped product success directly. And this is a marker which we have very recently started using on our products, on our premium range of products, in fact. And this is a line of products which has come up after the 6 panel insights have come into being. Like I mentioned, the post-launch consumer insight, strength and diffusion are the two key criteria for me, which are important for fragrance likability and making a long-lasting fragrance. For us, for Mangali, 92% versus 72% of competitors is strength. And diffusion, similarly, how far is the fragrance going in the room, is much higher for Mangali. This helps us transform the willingness to try of consumers. How many are willing to try our products? How many are willing to repeat the user of Mangali product and willing to switch out of my competitor brands? Coming to sales, this has been the trend since the 3-in-1 is present. We have launched multiple 3-in-1 variants from a 4.4 CR sales in Q1 last year. Just October in the current year, it has seen a 9.5 CR. This is 1 month, which is nearly double of a quarter previously. The impact goes beyond sales. For our panelists, their lives have changed. Rekha from Chennai is delighted to be able to contribute to a product. And for Katie, she waits for this each month. Aparna does not want this work to be stopped, and for more work of this nature to come with it. This is a brand video that we had shot on World Side Day, the second Thursday of every October. On that occasion, we wanted to thank these super heroes and also start linking Mangali with the story of sustainability of inclusivity. One second. One period. Yes, it's fine. I'm sure you will do later. That's okay. Or this is not your so family. Okay, now.
इस रास्ते पर बिना देखे चला इसलिए पुराने सभी और गाइड और ये अगर वाक्य आपकी थोड़ी ज्यादा है यहाँ से कभी गेंदा गुलाब मोगरा बनकर पर स्मेल की सोच है, जिससे मुझे रोजगार ही नहीं, इज्जत भरी जिंदगी भी मिली है। इस वर्ल्ड साइड टेबल आईटीसी मंगलदीप अपने 150 से ज्यादा 6 सेंस पैनलिस्ट का सम्मान करता है, जो अपनी स्मेल की सुपर पावर से हमारे अंदर परफ्यूम की खुशबू और भी बेहतर बनाते हैं।
So, it's a young brand from Mangalore, a relatively younger brand. 50 years of old age sounds very impressive, and I'm sure IBC has far older brands as well. But what I am seeing is that we're starting to build a story. We were trying to connect sustainability to my brand. On research, I found that Mangalore is something that housewives or an age group of 30 to 40 years is someone who's a decision maker of these products. We wanted to expand that. So we did a lot of research in terms of how do I define my brand architecture, what are my TGs that I can that we can target, and and sustainability is an area which people want to be related to, connected to, but probably not pay a lot for. So this was one of this for me is one of the beautiful ways of connecting sustainability to my brand. Sorry. And here we saw that connecting it, creating the story, publicizing the story, created a lot of value for not just for me, but even for the consumers who are connected with it. The feedback that we get often is, okay, this is now a very powerful story. No wonder that 1 to 3 months is so great, so wonderful, and lasting so long. And this is what IDC wanted to do, building a brand and purpose, and give you a why. The story will tell you, will answer your why also as to why you should be connected to it, why you should be working in this. And I think this is a snapshot of our panels across the 5 cities. And with that, thank you.
We extend our gratitude to Ms. Pragya Paramitaswamy for her engaging speech and walking us through the problems of a real-life work setting. Your perspective has added a significant dimension to our discussion. I would now like to introduce our distinguished speaker of the day, Mr. Avik Sen. Avik sir is a visionary business strategist whose career is a testament to innovation, excellence, and transformative leadership. With over a decade of expertise, he has mastered the art of revenue growth management, go-to-market strategy, and business transformation, cementing his reputation as a real leader in the consumer products and consulting domains. Currently, Avik serves as an associate director at Tata Consumer Products, where he plays a pivotal role in steering strategic initiatives that drive growth and operational excellence. His contributions are marked by a commitment to leveraging data-driven insights and innovative framework to unlock value and redefine success in a competitive marketplace. Previously, he held the role of Associate Director at KPMG India, where he led groundbreaking projects, including a GTM engagement for a leading home improvement brand. His exceptional work earned him the prestigious Impact Award, underscoring his ability to deliver results that resonate beyond immediate business purposes. His strategic foresight and dedication to achieving transformative outcomes have made him a trusted advisor and a key contributor to large-scale business successes. An alumnus of XIM Bhubaneswar's illustrious MBA RM batch of 2013-15, he remains a proud and active member of the institution's vibrant alumni network. His journey serves as a beacon of inspiration for aspiring professionals, showcasing the power of perseverance, strategic thinking, and unwavering dedication to excellence. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abhishek.
XIM to share his invaluable insights with us.
Good afternoon. Hello, hello. First of all, I'd like to start with an apology. And I understand the pain. And I know the thing introduced me in a very I'll introduce myself more the extended version. I think this is part of training committees, or also part of the IlluminatiX. I know before I used to stay grounded. It applies for platform, box before, I wanted to, use Menti and Slido that you have phones to मुझे कुछ बता सको, but I understand phones are not allowed when I remember it's exciting, compulsory, so fans करते हैं, so all of you would have taken an expo of the part-time campus. I mean, quick first years, rapid fire, so fans, first years, expo of part-time. This meeting was mandatory. It's a customary event. Yes, no, show hands. Customary नहीं है. Show hands and you can raise your hand. Customary. Mandatory था. हाँ नहीं था. हाथ उठाओ यार. हाथ तो उठा लो. किसके पास फोन है? हाथ उठा लो. फोन है. नहीं. Plans to go out today. Plans to go out today. Great. So I hope you are awake now. I promise not to take more than 15 minutes. But I'll tell you what I wanted. When I was making this day, I thought यार मैं जब फर्स्ट ईयर में था मुझे क्या करना था? मैं सोचता यार क्या ठीक है बोल दिया खत्म हो गया. But then I thought, when I'm making this deck, it has to be customized and it has to give you some vision. आगे जाके can it help you? कुछ नहीं तो यार कुछ बाकी पे copy paste भी कर लो. They're going to get this deck. They're going to get this presentation. There are 2-3 things. Just listen for 10-15 minutes. When you listen, just remember consumer markets. I'll play this keeping in view of consumer markets. Anything related to FMCG, any consumer durable products, channel agnostic, online में हो जाएगा चलेगा, BT में online box store में भी चलेगा, and just keep in mind whatever the speakers here, starting from the worship presented, what the output. जब end consumer को क्या दिखाना है? What I want to do now is, as practitioners, to reach that point, what do you need to do whenever you're building a brand in the future? Right? The beautiful storytelling has to be internal to the organization also, at each step. And how do you do that? So I'm just taking you to the flow. You know, we say brand that brand and your different cohorts, different types, you know, because the organization. I mean, example, Zomato is a brand, XIM is a brand. So there are individuals. इसमें तो यार नहीं भी तो है. Brand India has brand power. In the cases, for example, which thing was up, you know, Puri is a beautiful brand. The government is, you know, making it to have a great tourism industry. Then there are products. Example, Good Night, Sun Silk, and biryani is also a brand here. It depends. Yeah, कौन सा product use करो at which moment. And then there are events. I mean, like Communiqué, small brand, but the company is big हो जाएगा. So each of these cohorts are important, and then there are micro factors to it. There are micro markets to it of how each one of them is building a commercial sense of creating an engagement to it. So this gives a clear example. If you see here, you know this guy already, right? Very, very famous guy. People who are in X, they must be knowing. People who are into crypto, they must be knowing. I mean, he has created a brand path. My next example here is a brand name like Burger. I don't think you guys realize its top line is better than 12,000 CR. But do you know the brand ambassador? Anyone who knows one is the brand ambassador. There are 12,000 CR brands. Anyone? Karina Kapoor. So just think, if in a room, itni badi company, but they still do not have a brand, it means they are doing something which is internally connecting to the end customer, but they're able to build it without brand recall also. I mean, there are these types of companies which are also existing. The third example is Pigeon. It's a cookware brand. Pigeon का मतलब है कि I mean, synonym is sasta. It's the most cheapest, most sort of economical brand in the market. If I say in the category that they are playing in, their ATP is less than 2%. What would the promoter with those thought is a customer को सस्ता चाहिए. I mean, that is telling the story to the consumer. It is not through ads or not through branding, not through in-store promotions. Any idea? All of them duty तो क्या है? यार अभी भी शो रह गया हुआ स्क्रीनिंग यार टिकट का पैसा दिया है इंटू वाला पे. तो मतलब I तो ये भी है. Rudy, anyone? Yes, no? Great. Do you know the organization name who is running it? Great. What about it? I mean, you know, of course, this is XIM. Okay, this is the credit. What do you think? I mean, did they create the credit card payment category? I mean, I don't think it existed before. You know, just with the brand power of the promoter and that organization. We know that there are organizations or platforms who are there only for credit card payments, and then we get the ecosystem around it. So that's the brand leverage. And then your tickets are group में ऐसे टिकट क्या होता है? सिलेंडर में ना टिके यार. And there are 18 allocated 2 tickets for sales. पता है anyone has tickets for Diljit का? So anyone? Oh, you joined the lobby. So now coming to the major masala of the deck, what I want you to remember is too much of jargon. I know there are jargons here. Consultant, please remember me. On the left hand side, you see this pyramid. If you see there is a engine, there has to be a well-oiled engine to ensure that you deliver this for a brand and you are able to bring that brand. So where to play? Basically, the end consumer first. How to play? Now, in the ecosystem, there are retailers, outlets, platforms like the Amazon of the world who are interacting with the end consumer. Then there is a distribution partner. So there is a sales team, and every organization has a sales team. Now, you have how to play. You can each other what to play. The product has to be good, right? Then there are marketing teams, branding teams, supply chain teams who need to work to ensure that this vision goes to the end consumer. And all of this comes from the intellectual owners, and they can be the board, the organization per se. When all of these elements work together, that is when the ecosystem is able to deliver a good brand. And there are different ways of delivering a good brand. It can be ATL, BTL, experience. These are all methods on how you communicate your message to the world. And there are some key enablers to it also. I mean, even if you put it into tech process and people, tech people there has to be a process to it, and there has to be good resources of people, to communicate this to the end consumer. Now, connecting the same dots, what I want you to do is, see, these are all over which I showed in the earlier slide, right? Now, what is storytelling? If I tell you, every cohort has to tell a story. If each one of them is not telling a story now, the flow will break, the brand will not be created in the market. How? I have a small example, it will take 2 minutes in this slide. Just try and be with me, read the text first, maybe you can read it first, then I can take it. I'll give you 30 seconds, just have a glance. I'm sure you copy paste it in a lot of assignments. I'm sure you will see an assignment. Zoom करना नहीं So I will give you. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's simple. Every cohort, the end consumer has to self-validate. If I got luxury watch, I need to tell you, yeah, this is good. I can tell my friend. So like, there are micro factors to it. There are macro factors to it. For example, sustainability. I've given a small example. Amex referral program. And you refer someone, they buy an Amex card, you get about 5,000 MR points. I know people who are holding about 33 holidays in our hotel thanks to the Amex program. Simple. It's a good product. They're able to self-validate. They're able to advocate and they're able to earn money. This is how Amex is leveraging. Next example is retailers, outlets, and platforms. What are they doing? They are telling the story of experience, the USPs of the product, and its commercial narrative. How it is going to benefit the end consumer. So these people, they are basically communicating to the end consumer. Example, recent Black Friday sale. All the platforms, the retailers are talking to the end consumer using the narrative of the Black Friday sale. We go into outlets, we see free samplings, free product trials, anyone knows a Tesla, they can, not there obviously in India, for example, Tesla किसी को चाहिए someone, I mean, many of you are going to become CEOs, I'm sure. So tough, you want to, try out a Tesla. Next in the ecosystem is the distributor. So this fellow, he has to convince the retailers of the outlet. So what is this allowed to do? Example, Max Protein Bar. They are recently running a program. It is a trade program, but what they communicating? The distributor is communicating to the retailer, buy one, get one. That's the oversleep. एक खरीद लो, एक फ्री में दे दो, दो का पैसा बना. Mother Dairy distributors, just simply saying nothing. They are saying because mainly consumer में, like Amrita mentioned, there's so much of intrinsic demand created in the market by the ads. The distributor is simply saying, मुझे कुछ नहीं करना, तुम्हें खरीदना है तो खरीदो, वरना you can go. Because the customer will come and buy. It's not good someone else will buy from you. That is how the story is getting connected. Fourth cohort is the sales team. That's the story to the channel. And what levers he has? He has a lot of levers. But the nuance, I tell you the storytelling nuance here. Very interesting example. Anyone has used Imami products to Janta Imami? I mean, a lot of animals cooking at Imami, yeah. They have Chavanprash Nampina. Yes. Great. They also have Navratna Nampina. Yes. Chavanprash ka bigta, sardi mein ya garmi mein? Great. Navratna oil ka bigta. Just think of it towards it. When he has to go and tell the outlet a different story every 6 months. Yeah, same outlet. उसको अलग स्टोरी बोलना है. सर्दी में सर च्यवनप्राश खरीद लो, गर्मी लगेगी. गर्मी में सर नवरत्न ऑयल खरीद लो, ठंडी लगेगी. The narrative changes. This narrative drives it. The product teams, the HO team, they drive this narrative in the market. बॉस क्या मटेरियल देना है मेरे बंदे को, क्या कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है. It is not just like, I mean, many of you in your SIP streams or your pilot placements will get into a sales role. You have to become the DSR someday. You have to do a market with it. दुकानदार को ऐसे नहीं कि जाके बोलने से खरीद लेगा. I mean, everyone is not a Unilever. That's the fact of life. Unilever demands respect in the market. Economy also demand उसके जहाँ पे market share number 1 होगा, not in the number 3 in the number 4. Like you know, मेरा पेज का मुझे टारगेट में प्लेस करवा दिया. I got placed in the target, not वो वाला target. Target is the Gemini oil brand. Those chaps really sit in a low share market. इसको तो मेरी बात सुन ही नहीं रहा था. भीख मांगना पड़ रहा था मुझे उससे. I had sir कुछ कर दीजिए नौकरी चली जाएगी. That was my story. That was my narrative. So please understand narrative and stories. Organization आती है कि मैं खुद बनानी पड़ती है and you have to connect it to the brand at each stage internally. Now coming to the HOTs. I mean there are brand teams, there are channel teams, there are a lot of teams. They talk बहुत सारा कुछ. Eventually ना ये सब बच्चे दुकान को बोलता है क्या करना है. So this refinement वो refine होके कैसे आता है. There are only two things that get communicated. The truth is DSR जाके दुकानदार को जो बोलता है. And then my brand team, what they communicate to the end consumer via ATL, BTL, there are different means. Are these two also getting connected at some point? Yes, your brand will take, if not today, in years to come. And finally, the organization, the board. So this is the classic example. Would have heard of it, you have heard. I mean, Aditya Birla has just entered the paint space. You know, they are number correctly is 30,000 years and trying to invest. What the ambition setting is? Because I don't know anything. I want to be the number 2 player in 5 years. I want to dethrone Berger Paints. Berger has been in India for 100 years. Asian is the number 1 player with about more than 50% share. Now the board has made its statement. That's the story. सबके दिमाग में, CEO के दिमाग में, the board के दिमाग में, the DSR के दिमाग में. But I want to be the number 2 player. कहाँ पे? दुकान पे, branding पे, product पे, हर जगह पे. Now to become number 2 at a weighted level, across many elements, they also have to become number 1, right? Weighted level. The last expense in ATF was more than 500 CR. Asian Paints, the number of players spent about 300 CR. That's the vision of the story that the board is trying to tell to the market. And then there is the angle of the share market also. How share to go up, down, can connect to it. I'll move on. Chalega, do you want me to repeat? Yes, no, yes, okay. Come on. I have about 5 minutes here. Classic example, chief of staff. Yes, no. चलो देख लेते हैं इसका. So this guy is a brand, and obviously the way he posts is he's also the long term. But इसमें brand क्या है? Brand of the organization. अगर आप देखो product पर offering क्या थी, वो नौकरी तो product था ना. The boss that is end consumer कौन था? People who had 20 lakhs. दूसरा किसके पास था? And ये जो narrative था ये किसने बनाया? I am looking for a chief of staff. And the brand teams, the HOTs, everyone played their part. Everyone told a story so that Mr. Warren could tell the story. उनको 20 साल तो चाहिए. No, finally. I mean, you can skip the earlier and now part. It's Jan. But what I want to take away is the right side. I mean, just FYI. You may not know everything here. But a lot of tech elements, a lot of tech systems are in place आज की दुनिया में, where you know which can be leveraged, which can be used to ensure there's a lot of automation which goes into storytelling. Data capture is the basic essence. I mean, we spoke a lot on how data plays a key role. Amrita spoke on how we have to communicate something to the end consumer. Actually, those are the converging stages. The data has to be captured. Example, कोई ad गया, उसका feedback क्या है? Is the sales going up? I mean, there is some way you have to also know if the brand is working or not. Are the ads working or not? Welcome back. Welcome back. यहाँ पर ना. ठीक है? So those are the 2 points you need to remember. That there are a lot of tech systems that if you only remember, I mean, you need to take. Finally, I want to show you a case study. I'll just directly go into it. I will not drain this slide anyway. Long story short, Mirror Paints ना they said कि यार मुझे product company नहीं करना, मुझे service based company करना है. That was the simple narrative of the board and the promoter. ठीक है? Product से service लाना, that was the narrative placed on the board. What did they do? In 18 months they built a new channel, which was a service channel, giving them about 450 CR business at an annual level. They hired 250 people. They deployed more than 8 platforms of tech apps. They set up more than 300 processes. And the simple narrative was the company will go directly to the end consumer as a paid services business. We as end consumers have practiced अपने को क्या लिखा हुआ है कि रणवीर सिंह ऐड में आया वो ऐड चला. That was the end game. That's very important. But that's not the only important element is what I'm trying to say. For that communication to happen, there is an internal infra that has to be built. And there, storytelling and communication and the narrative has to be very important. It is very important. I will show you you can fix it on your own. So I worked on this, build it from scratch. You know what they are trying to say is so this company they will become a service-based company. As an end consumer, we can directly put on our need here anywhere in the ecosystem. The need will directly go into the CRM systems. Then there is a salesman from the organization who will go to the end consumer talk. What is the difference? पहले उनको पेन रेटना था, अभी उनको कंसल्टेशन देना है. They can upsell their products. They can actually genuinely engage that NPS scores can be as high as 9.8 out of 10. You know? But building this narrative, onboarding the brand ambassador, reach out platforms, their USP, what they were telling the product, what they'll be able to deliver this in 5 days. You know? So at each stage, they have to tell a story to eventually come to the end result where they can go to the end consumer. So that's it. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for that engaging and enthusiastic presentation. I would like to express my gratitude to our esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable expertise. The floor will now be open for question and answer session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Then one of the IlluminatiX members will hand you the microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Priyanka Mishra, student of XIM Batch of 2026. My question is to the entire panel. Since you have all talked about how brand stories impact the culture and people, and we ran through different examples of Godrej, Bumble, ITC, etc. My question is, how do you all ensure that when the content narratives are being created for a global brand or people's brands, remain cultural sensitive while maintaining a unified brand voice?
So just to reiterate, what you want to understand is how you ensure a certain story, a certain brand is culturally sensitive, right?
Exactly.
You just have to follow the trends. Like a lot of energy goes into listening to trends. And we will still surprised that even having these big amazing teams, a lot of times bigger brands also follow up, right? And then there is a big backlash like how can we do this, right? So essentially what we do as a marketing agency is, in our team for instance, we hire the Gen Zs, we also hire the senior people, right? I'll tell you why. Because we inherently, like millennials for example, we are not on Snapchat, right? I don't have a Snapchat account, right? But there might be something happening there, right? Which as a company we need to be aware of, right? For our company which we are working with, right? So you need to have your ears and eyes on the ground, and you need to have the right people for that who are very much involved in the narrative.
If I can
just add, I think, brands and stories are not created by a machine. It's you and I who will be sitting as brand managers, as people who will write the brief, who will create a campaign. So it's very important you're not just culturally sensitive, you are sensitive human beings. And I have a slightly idealistic point of view here that, these brands and any of us who have worked in marketing know that there's a tremendous amount of money spent on research, trends, and all of that. As brands, one need to be sensitive about how they're using that data. You can spend millions of dollars understanding the insecurities women have, maybe the clashes relationships have. You might know the most nuanced version of a discord in a culture or country. But how do you use that? How do you use that to bring a product and a narrative which is useful to someone and not take advantage of that insecurity that you now know. I represent Unilever in many forms, and I think you have seen the transformation they have had from Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely and so on and so forth. And I think that's a shift that has happened in the culture and the company as well. And it continues to be one of the most iconic brands, and it's only gaining that kind of momentum and that kind of relevance in consumers' mind because one, they are sensitive, and two, they are using these millions of dollars to know trends and consumer insights and using them in the right way. So I think as marketers, one needs to be sensitive more than ever now, because I don't think you can get away with just using data and using that in the wrong way to sell a product. So I think it comes naturally by being sensitive human beings that you will create culturally sensitive brands.
Thank you.
Just to add, Conclave is originally in the spiritual domain. It's something prayers to God. So we had tied up with the Ayodhya Mahakumbh. And to tell that story, we had come up with the tagline of Bhagwan Ki Dost. This, from a cultural standpoint, some parts of the country will help, but others won't. Research, a lot of definitely marketing agencies have told us that it will not handle with some of the figures. So that underwent change, multiple iterations across the company, a lot of diversified thinking went into it. Finally, it became really a Bhagwan Ki Dost. So it's landing, there's no hurt sentiments. You have to keep on hearing what the consumer is telling you, what the feedback is.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rohan from XIM BBM batch of 2426. My question is to Amrita ma'am and to other panelists as well. As you mentioned that there are various marketing campaigns that they launch, but only few of them are memorable. So my question is, what are the steps that a company takes in order to backtrack the marketing campaigns that didn't work very well, and how do you evaluate that? What not to do most importantly, and what went right?
Good question. I think it's very easy to catch a bad campaign. I don't think it's difficult. Even as consumers, I think we have a sense of, hey, this didn't just land. And I think memorability, no company makes a brand knowing that this will not be memorable. All of us get paid and we spend hours of our days crafting briefs, creating adverts that we think will be memorable, will create an impact. Eventually, I believe that every campaign needs to have the metrics that, metrics very fairly set. So, for example, if it's a product campaign, the sales and revenue will very quickly tell you that whether it has created the kind of impact that you wanted. Life cycle of products are very different. In FMCG, we get to know it within a quarter. What are the kind of moves that you are seeing in terms of market share penetration and brand power, etc. In maybe some other brands and some other categories, the life cycle of a success and judging a success might be different. You might have to wait a couple of quarters. There are festive spikes. There are different external inputs that might impact the campaign, and therefore you might not know. But
product campaigns, by and large, I would say sales, market share are good metrics to see. If these are brand campaigns, for example, the ZTV ad that I spoke about, where you're trying to establish the point of view of a brand, which is not an immediate sell, it is not an immediate show that you're promoting or an immediate sales campaign, or it's not an Amazon Big Billion Day sale where it would matter, where it will matter how much sales you did in that week. For those kind of brand campaigns, which are more POV campaigns, there are enough and more metrics. There's brand power, there are digital metrics that are available on Google, Facebook, etc. that will tell you whether this campaign moves the right perception metric that you wanted to know. I think the easiest for any brand is to understand whether this worked in the direction that you wanted to work, and then quickly take it off air if it didn't work. I'm a big believer of agility in marketing. I think we as marketers are very close to the campaigns we create, right? We are very emotionally attached to the briefs we have written and the campaigns we have shot. I personally am, and therefore I have made this mistake in the past of almost being, making excuses for a campaign. It is for thoda time within there. Let's see it for one more quarter. Let's see it for one more year. Maybe this metric moved, but the key metrics that I set out to change did not move, etc. But I think it's very important that as marketers we are rational and we are very, very brutal with ourselves as to what works and what didn't work. In this information age, there is no dearth of, being able to know whether it works or not. I think the data is almost immediate in certain campaigns. So the best thing to do is just, take a step back, rethink, and get back to something.
David articulated that, but just to add to that, campaign बहुत अच्छा चला, campaign अच्छा भी रहा, but फिर भी the metrics did not work. I mean, eventually the end objective was, the product had to reach, the sales had to increase. So can we expect other things, not the campaign, on why it did not work? Those are not factored in when we look at campaigns. So hence, what business does or what leaders do is they look at everything holistically. The campaign might have landed, but maybe this was not the right time. We need to run this campaign again when the time is right. We need to also look at those aspects of it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Atul Samanta Mountain. I'm from the XIM batch of 2024-2026. So my question is to the entire panel. It is about when things go wrong. So in the past couple of years, there have been a few established brands which have faced allegations about using inferior quality ingredients in their products, especially consumables. And as you know, when this information gets public, so there is a public outcry that happens. So as marketing professionals and as strategists and consultants working in this area, how do we deal with that is the first question. And the second question is, on a personal level, is there ever an ethical dilemma for you when you are handling such situations?
So yes, a lot of times things go wrong, and currently, to be honest, the general sense in the consumers is that consumers are very unforgiving, right? So if it goes wrong, it is just a matter of days and weeks to come and do scrutiny, and there's so much criticism around it, right? So earlier when we used to probably do case studies, right? There was this one disaster maybe 10 years back, there's a case study, and now we have a case study every week, right? So how do you navigate that? So first of all, accountability and ownership is really important, right? There is never an ethical dilemma, to be honest. I'll tell you why. Because you have to understand from the perspective of the company itself. They are paying employees, it's an organization, it takes a lot of effort and guts to build a business, right? So you have to do everything in your power to make sure that you are, first of all, able to get the founders to see where is the mistake, right? If there is an issue with the product, or there is an issue with the company's vision or the communication itself, right? So you have to give them a perspective of in marketing like, hey, we need to change here, right? You have to push the agenda there, right? Take accountability, take ownership. That's what is probably the most, if it has actually reached a state where you cannot take it back, right? That is the best way to move forward, right? And then, of course, you will get your time, you do some damage control, you come back with a different narrative, right? So that is the way to go. And as marketers, the first ethical responsibility is not just towards your customers, but your internal consumers as well, the company, the brand they want to, right? Because you are their ears and eyes on the ground.
Just add to that, you said two things. One is, I've quoting these spices examples, and that's introduced a lot of these cases in the last year with the export cases. There's two parts to it. One is communication to do to the market, not the brand or marketing part. What is communicate to the market? Quick, fast flow that depends on the PR exports. Internally, you just have to do nothing and calm down and not, company like Everest is too big to fail in a single day. Just need to calm down. The leadership knows where it went wrong, where it did not go wrong, if it is specifically on ingredients, we need to look at our procurement strategy. It has nothing related to do to branding as a whole or the front office piece as a whole, actually assembly piece as a whole. If something on procurement has gone wrong, can't be changed in a day, and that's the practical reality. Big organizations, they're agile in their heads, the processes are not. If I want to procure 500 tons of, example, any spices, that's the ground reality. As end consumers, we do not understand it, which is also practical. But for that organization, they need some time to act. And then there are experts in each department to create what sort of communication or branding or strat, whatever is required, to ensure that this is not again repeated. So be calm and patient in such scenarios help.
I just wanted to give one more example. I don't know how many of you remember. There was this case of Cadbury chocolates where insects and bugs were found. Right? You remember the campaign after that with Amitabh Bachchan, the full tour that they gave of the factory, etc. The company handled it so beautifully. They left the brand intact. There was a minor blip, but the way that they came back so strongly, I think there were two, three things that they did really right. One is to accept that there was a mistake. There was no shying away that hey, there's a wrong, there is a bad publicity, there's somebody against me, and all of that. There was no blame game. There was one accountability of saying that hey, maybe this was not done right, and now they're taking corrective actions to make it right. In this case, the social media and the instant thing, I think what has worked, and I've seen this work across many stages. Even Zomato had gone early on with that vegetarian thing, right? And the way that the founder came back and apologized and said that, hey, we were told that we didn't actually shows how much you want to make good of what went wrong. So I think those are a couple of things. In this world, there is nothing that you can shy away from and just sugarcoat and get away with. Consumers are very smart these days, and social media is so open that you cannot really hide behind anything. So that's my thing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Before we have time, we'll take one last question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Conclave from XIM's BMH of 2026. So, my question is to everyone. So, as we know that Jaguar has rebranded itself in the recent, and they have attracted a lot of criticism. But by doing this, they have created a lot of buzz in the market. And after that, they have launched that EV vehicle, which attracted a lot of attention. So, but on the sake of their brand management. So what could have been a better strategy, or is there a damage control for them at this point?
Any of you have money enough to buy a Jaguar? Was that campaign directed to you? Did you know about an earlier Jaguar campaign? Any other? इसके पहले कैसा brand लगता था? So see, different brands are targeted to do different things. Sitting here today, going through Twitter, many of us may feel that this has gone wrong. I would sort of hold my judgment on the campaign till I actually know what they wanted to do, who they were going after, and give it enough time to see the metrics. Many of this Twitter, storm that we might experience might not actually translate into that bad an internal or an external sales for many brands. But yeah, I found it very amusing, the campaign personally. I, along with you, don't have money enough to buy a Jaguar yet. But I saw the intent, I saw the visuals, it caught my attention. Not necessarily moved me to buy a Jaguar next, but yes, it caught my attention. I would reserve my judgment on how that worked, basis data, and not sort of respond to that as a consumer. And especially that's what you learn as a marketer, that there are different ways of judging a campaign from a consumer lens as well as from a marketing lens. As a marketer, I wouldn't judge it too soon. I would give it time and maybe look at the brand 1 year down the line and how it works.
So just adding to that, right? So every 5 years down the line, there's a shift in the purchasing power. You will always have new influx of money, new buyers in the market, right? You will have, like the older customers you had, the loyal customers you had, right? They are moving to a different phase of life. So essentially, what we can see from the external part is what Amita has already said, that we have to wait it out and see what was the end game of this, right? But basically, what they wanted is they wanted to rebrand themselves, right? To target this new influx of money, like which is probably a new set of consumers, right? Who have the money to buy a Jaguar, right? So they wanted to be heard, they wanted to be seen, and it kind of has worked, right? Because we're actually talking about it. It has been quite some time since we kind of heard a big buzz around Jaguar, right? Everyone was talking about Tesla. So there was an overview of it, right? Suddenly there are news, people are talking about it, and of course, when you're trying to rebrand yourself, a lot of people become uncomfortable, right? Because we as consumers have seen them in a certain way for quite some time, right? So suddenly, if you remember the Rahul Dravid ad, right? It works so beautifully for credit, right? Because there was a complete change of personality and it worked really well for them. So when you are trying to rebrand yourself, sometimes initially people might not understand what you're trying to achieve. Initially, sometimes they want to go to appreciate, oh wow, Rahul Dravid is it's awesome, the ad is amazing, right? It was one of the earlier ads that worked out really well for credit, right? So you have to try, right? And just wait it out, see how it panned out over a period of time. And I still count it as a win, like considering the fact that people are talking about it, right? People have now become a little bit more aware of its legacy. Just wait it out, probably. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We have multiple questions. It is indeed a matter of great pride and privilege for XIM Bhubaneswar to host our esteemed guest today. I would now like to request Ms. Amrita Mohanty, the treasurer of Team IlluminatiX, to please come up on stage and felicitate our guest with a token of gratitude. Thank you, Amrita ma'am, for walking us through the stories of household advertisements like Midnight and ZTV. The journey has inspired each one of us and everyone and still happy. Thank you, Priti ma'am, for instilling the authentic version of brand storytelling in each one of us. Getting a glimpse of unfiltered world of marketing was nothing less than a mind map of how we should represent ourselves. Thank you, Pragya ma'am, for introducing us to the intricacies of development of top-selling products like
modernity, it is engaging and fascinating alike. Thank you, Abhay sir, for taking us through the ecosystem of marketing and brand building, how every person has a story to tell, and how every product connects to create the bigger picture at the end. As we draw curtains on Communiqué 2024, I would like to invite Mr. Aman Chaubey, the coordinator of IlluminatiX, the media and PR cell of XIM Bhubaneswar, to deliver the vote of thanks.
The best stories are those that leave an imprint on our soul, and the great brands tell stories that connect with your heart. This vote perfectly encapsulates the spirit of Communiqué 2024, the annual media conclave of XIM, where we have witnessed not only the power of storytelling, but also the impact of brand narratives in shaping perceptions and creating lasting impressions. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I stand before you with immense gratitude and appreciation. On behalf of Team IlluminatiX, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all those who have contributed in making Communiqué 2024 a resounding success. First and foremost, a special thanks to our esteemed guests and speakers. Your insightful discussions, engaging narratives, and personal stories have not only enriched our knowledge but have also left us inspired to think creatively and critically. Your wisdom has truly illuminated the path for us, and we are deeply grateful for your wisdom expertise. To the faculty and administration of XIM, we thank you for your continued support and guidance. Your encouragement has helped us to bring this event to life, providing us the resources and direction to create an impactful platform for dialogue and learning. This event touches the pinnacles of success only when it gets support of our esteemed media partners. Your continued association with XIM and IlluminatiX has been one of our greatest assets, and we hope that Communiqué fosters that bond and deepens it further. This year, we are proud to have 52 media partners for the annual media conclave at XIM, and I would like to thank each one of them for their support and association. Batalam, this will be long. So I would like to thank Sabha News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha Taza News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Janaswara for being our media partner. I would like to thank Insar IIM for being our media partner. I would like to thank President for being our media partner. I would like to thank News 18 Korea for being our media partner. I would like to thank NF Times for being our media partner. I would like to thank Sudro for being our media partner. I would like to thank Utkal Mail for being our media partner. I would like to thank Bharat Darshan for being our media partner. I would like to thank Kalinga 24 for being our media partner. I would like to thank Nakshatra News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Kanak News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Dainik Journal for being our media partner. I would like to thank Pramya for being our media partner. I would like to thank Akali Pune for being our media partner. I would like to thank Asha Pradeep for being our media partner. I would like to thank Jagannath Express for being our media partner. I would like to thank Wendigo TV for being our media partner. I would like to thank Mountain News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Mountain Digital for being our media partner. I would like to thank Saurashtra Bhumi for being our media partner. I would like to thank Dansan for being our media partner. I would like to thank East Paper for being our media partner. I would like to thank Ahvan for being our media partner. I would like to thank News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha Day for being our media partner. I would like to thank Khabar Odisha for being our media partner. I would like to thank Avenue Mail for being our media partner. I would like to thank SCCN News for being our media partner. I would like to thank Campus Times Pune for being our media partner. I would like to thank City News Jharkhand for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha Live for being our media partner. I would like to thank the Interview Times for being our media partner. I would like to thank Music Unplugged for being our media partner. I would like to thank NBC TV for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha Bhaskar for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha Express for being our media partner. I would like to thank Asian Age for being our media partner. I would like to thank the Pioneer for being our media partner. I would like to thank Zilla Khabar for being our media partner. I would like to thank Around Odisha for being our media partner. I would like to thank the New Indian Express for being our media partner. I would like to thank Baisa Production for being our media partner. I would like to thank Odisha News Makers for being our media partner. I would like to thank Financial News for being our media partner. I would like to thank IDBC for being our media partner. I would like to thank News 7 for being our media partner. I would like to thank Mint for being our media partner. I would like to thank the Statesman for being our media partner. I would like to thank Business Standard for being our media partner. And finally, I would like to thank Patricia for being our media partner. Your audience, your presence, energy, and engagement are a full of inspiration. And we hope that the stories shared here today leave an imprint on your hearts and minds, much like the best brands do. Thank you for your curiosity, your passion, and your willingness to learn. Your involvement has made this conclave an amazing experience for all of us. We are confident that the knowledge shared here will continue to inspire and guide you in your professional journeys. I would also like to thank the Alumni Committee, the Career Advisory Services Committee, and XIM for your support during Communiqué 24. As I stand before you today, I am overwhelmed. Communiqué is not the name of the Conclave. For us, it's a journey that has lasted over a few months. Over months of meticulous planning, ideation, and efforts by the entire team IlluminatiX has culminated this day. And I would like to congratulate each and every member of the team who has put tireless effort in smooth conduct of this event. I am proud of each one of you, and I will not have asked for a better team. And especially to our family, I say the sun has just risen for you guys, and we will be rooting for you for a bigger and grander Communiqué. Thank you.
Now I would request everyone to stay seated as our speakers take on lead.